They got a lot of smart people there. Unbelievable. And that's my new megaphone. I'm finding myself using it more and more. This could all go horribly wrong at any minute. Hello and welcome to the 220th edition of Lewis Black's Rantcast, entitled Stop. Okay? Just that's it. That's simple. Stop. That was, I was going to say, stop, please stop, but I'm not saying please stop. Stop. I'm saying stop in reference to all of the stuff that is going on. Just stop. All right? This is insane. He sends through a text on his platform, Truth Social. Who the hell? I mean, God, these people in public office, all of them. I'm going to text out something. No, you fucking stand in front of a camera and you speak. Sick of it. But especially if you're talking to somebody that you're trying to get to a table to have to discuss peace. All right? The way he's gone around this whole thing with the Ukraine and Russia. Come on, Vladimir, stop. What? Seriously? Huh? Is it in a text? Jesus, I mean, it's not stop. No. You don't even, you get on the phone and you go, if you don't fucking stop it. This is why you teach history, all right? And it's I've talked about this before. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I say anyway. No effect. I might as well be yelling at my toilet to get up, to get legs and walk. You have to remember. You have to have studied history to remember the shit that's gone on. You are saying that somehow his invasion, you're already saying, well, it was okay for them to take a chunk. And the country that was attacked, which you wouldn't allow if they took a chunk of America. God, as it is, you're trying to take Canada. What is the matter with you? Huh? No, but I'm not really trying to take it. I'm just kind of kidding. Why don't we just have government by I Ching? Okay, get AI to throw the coins. All right, and tell them we need to have it all mixed up, and then all decisions will be made on the I Ching. And if you don't know what the I Ching is, look it up. All right, because I'm not going to sit here and explain it. I'm not going to explain anything anymore. Okay, that's why Google is enough now. Just go look. It appears that's fine. You don't read a book. You don't do anything. You got a president who basically texts for coming for bringing an end to war. There are 5,000 men dying every day. Really? Huh? They bombed the Capitol. Okay? And you say, stop. God, I can't get over it. And the same week, the Pope passes, Pope Francis. Unbelievable. Huh? Even he said I had it. And who's one of the last people he saw? JD Vance. I mean, the stuff writes itself. Okay? There's no need. And bye-bye. There's no need for comics like me. It writes itself. Well, you could do some sort of no. JD Vance was one of the last people to see him. And already there's 5 billion jokes about it. And rightfully so. The thing is I think that, he just went, I've had no effect. This is it. This is the vice president. I can't sit here and explain to him, what he needs to know in order to be a good vice president and a moral one. Or maybe Pope Francis looked at JD and the thought that crossed his mind was, God, why hast thou forsaken me? What does it take? He comes in, JD Vance's man had no effect on JD Vance. None whatsoever. Maybe he did. Maybe at the end he did. I doubt it. We'll see. But he can't stop shit from pouring out of his mouth. Well, That Ukrainians, boy, they really are pushing it, aren't they? Huh, JD? Wow. One of the last guys he sees from our country. Probably the last guy. I don't know. JD Vance. And, and I can't even remember what the boss said about Pope Francis, but it was kind of like, yeah, he was a great guy. Really great. One of the best. No understanding of it. Extraordinary. People pouring in. Okay? And I mean, that's the kind of thing that the boss aspires to that, after he dies, they'll pour in like that. And there'll be a lot of people, but not on the level of the kind of thing that was the outpouring of love that we saw. And a kind of unbelievable sense of almost that they're in front of an extraordinary man. And, you can look back, there's been a handful of popes really who, have had that moment of extraordinary. And he was one of them. He's just a simple guy who just kind of, it's okay, who just wanted to make sure the world did right. And he did what he could. And he's going over there. The boss is going over to maybe the spirit of St. Francis will enter him for a moment when he sees Zelensky, and he'll have a kind of a vision, the boss, and he'll see that he really should kind of sit down if he really wants a peace treaty between these two countries and figure out, how this war began and how it should end. You can't ask a country to cut a deal to lose a chunk of their territory because we didn't stop them before, okay? And it wasn't just we, it was Europe and, the rest of the world just watches. And that's the way we are. We created a United Nations that's supposed to deal with this. It's not worth the time or the effort, the energy. Stop it. You've got this hedgehog. Somebody sent in maybe on this Rantcast had a better name, I think, than hedgehog, but I don't care. It was the first one I came up with. It was the first one that came to mind. And to be honest, by saying hedgehog, people say, well, you're insulting a hedgehog. No, I'm not. And what I'm saying is a hedgehog is actually, he's got the brains of a hedgehog. And maybe I am insulting the hedgehog. What do I know anymore? Just incredible. He's a signal. He's on Signalgate 2. So he's on with now his wife, his brother, and a lawyer. And his lawyer's kind of spouting out, more kind of maybe not totally classified information, but certainly enough that he shouldn't be on an app that is not secure. And then he put it on his computer. And now they're saying, people are leaving the White House. Leaving the Pentagon going, this is madness. What's going on here? We can't deal with this. And it's like having really it's being, basically the 12th grader, the boss has picked a 9th grader to run our Pentagon, one of the most complex institutions on earth. And he's got people screaming at each other. And he's, and he kind of comes out there with all that. Maybe it's the hair gel. Okay, maybe that's creeping in. Maybe that's what's breaking his ability to really understand the idea of why you don't use that app and why you don't put it on your phone and why you don't invite these people. And then he accused it's just too much. He accused the guy from the Atlantic of sneaking on. He was invited. Stop making shit up. Okay? Stop. Stop. All right? So I'm going to read you some stuff because it's, but before that, George Santos, they just get around to finally sentencing him. 7 years for the nonsense he pulled, and was able to be there for those Republicans. You know, they shut him away for 7 years, guys. Okay? And you went, no, let's keep him here. He's really doing a good job, a heck of a job, that George Santos. Okay? 7 years. And it took all this time to finally punish him. All right? And that's why the legal process, it's slow. Okay? And that's what's made this kind of key to the fact that we can't stop what's going on. All right? He sends out an order. The boss goes, we're going to do this. And then we're going to come in and do that. And then he gets sued. And they just, 12 states just sued him over these tariffs. Okay? And why? Because it's Congress that's supposed to be in charge of the tariffs. But he came up with there's a law from 1647, even though we weren't a country then, and that law said that as long as the dogs bark in the afternoon, at least one dog, the president can raise the tariffs. That's the level of fucking nonsense we're at. And now we got to wait around for the Supreme Court to go, well, that's a little much. The 1647, the idea of a dog barking is not too much, but the fact that you got to take this back and come through the courts again because we weren't a country in 1647. Okay, he's using rules and regulations that were done over things that hundreds of years ago. I'm stunned. Stop. Okay? I'm going to read you a few things. Trump continues to worsen the constitutional crisis by ignoring or slow-walking responses to court orders, which I just talked about, not just in deportation cases, but in cases where courts have blocked the firing of federal workers, such as those employed by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. This largely illegal destruction of federal functions continues to pile up casualties and proposed casualties. These are all facts, folks. Okay? Food safety inspections. Efforts to make infant formula safer. Why would we want to do that? Huh? Milk testing. Nah, you don't want to test it. Yeah, just squirt it right out of that cow's teat, and kids can suck it down right there. They can send them to the farm and they can pay extra. Okay? Weather balloons. God damn it. And I like weather balloons. I didn't even know we had weather balloons. But get rid of them because they're doing something that we need to know about, so stop it. Monitoring of IVF treatment safety. Okay? I'm not going to tell you what that is. Look it the fuck up. You all know what it is. And if you don't, look it up. Okay? Data on maternal health. Don't want that. The administration has even tried to sell off the Montgomery, Alabama bus station where Freedom Riders were attacked in 1961, and it now houses the Freedom Rides Museum. You don't want to learn history. God knows we need to cut that out. That way you can just kind of come at any problem like this war between the Ukraine and Russia and say whatever the fuck you want, because it doesn't matter history. The Republican representative Austin Scott of Georgia proposed a plan that would sharply cut what the federal government spends on Medicaid. And it's just too much. It is just too much. I could keep going, and I will. I'm going to read you some more because I can't keep up with it. Okay? Once again, RFK, a few dozen new things he's come up with that make no sense, have nothing to do with reality. Nothing. Okay? Nothing. He's like having heroin flashbacks. Oh, did he do heroin? Yes, he did heroin. Apparently he sold it too. I don't know. You can do that at Harvard. which, by the way, oh yeah, let's come down on Harvard. Let's send them a letter that you didn't mean to send. So that by sending it, then you get a backlash that now at least the colleges fucking stand up and go, you can't pull this shit. Okay? The federal government cannot insinuate itself into, all right, a private college or any college. It shouldn't have its nose in there unless there are certain things that need to be done to straighten them out. But taking money from research, and then they went through, it's constant. They went through the things that the money was going to. A lot of it had nothing to do with anything other than helping us. Okay? It went to science. Okay, why? Because they got a lot of smart people there. Unbelievable. And that's my new megaphone. I'm finding myself using it more and more. RFK said that teenagers in this country have the same testosterone levels as 68-year-old men. Based on what? Okay? Is he milking them? Oh, did he say that? Did Lewis say it? Yeah, I said it. Is he milking them? Is he putting them all in cups? Where's that number come from? How the fuck do we allow this shit to come out of people's mouths and that somebody's not standing there and going, this is bullshit? Okay? Yeah, that's the problem. It's those 68-year-old men who are hiding inside the bodies of our teenagers. Please, give me a break. And then he also went on to say that juvenile diabetes, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis were unknown when he was a kid, even though it was written about already. Okay? And I knew people who had, doesn't matter what I think. Okay? But it was in medical literature for centuries, which is, I read about that just recently. I read that when I read an article about what he was saying. And I did not know that it was for centuries. But I did know that those were around, okay, when he was a kid. And all this stuff has happened now. And I'm going to have, and that's what I got. That's all. It's enough. It's more than enough. Okay? These two are extraordinary. A sixth grade teacher in Idaho was ordered to remove a classroom poster saying, "Everyone is welcome here." The poster said, "Everyone is welcome here," and was told to remove it. That everyone, it means everyone, is welcome here. Everyone. And Sarah Inama said administrators told her that the poster's depiction of hands with various skin tones was a political opinion that violated Trump's ban on equity ideology in schools. Who educated the person who is now in charge of who's the administrator in Idaho? What school did they go to? Huh? The dumbed down school? Really? We got 1 billion colors in this country now, folks, and you better learn to fucking live with it. Okay? And the president, the boss, doesn't get to say, well, we can't do that anymore. Oh, yeah, you can. Yes, you can. And everybody is welcome here. I mean, everybody, except for, the obvious, violent people with, Inama briefly took the poster down, but then put it back up. You either believe everyone is welcome here or you don't. That's simple. You either believe it or you don't. And if you don't believe it, there's a lot of countries that you can go to that do. And there's a lot of places in the United States where you can go hide from it all right? Where there are a lot of people who are your color, okay? And you don't have to worry about all of those colors, okay, showing up on a poster. on a poster. God. And stunning. Flight attendants for a charter airline taking deported migrants to El Salvador. Why? Stop. Okay? Are wondering how to handle an emergency when their passengers are in shackles. The attendants have been told not to talk to or touch the deportees. If the plane has to be evacuated, said Lala, an attendant for Global Crossing Airlines, I don't know what we would do. She said attendants were told when they were hired that passengers would be elites, celebrities. Yeah, well, they're celebrities. I'm sure that would be, when you take your case to court, they'll say, well, yeah, no bigger celeb than the folks we were sending. Here's all the newspapers, all of those immigrants that were sent to El Salvador. You can see them on every page, the front page. If that doesn't make you a celebrity, I don't know what does. I don't know. How do you make that? How do you hire people like that? Oh, you're going to be taking celebrity. And then who believes it? Oh, you'll be taking celebrities down to El Salvador. It just stuns. My mind just is stunned and stunted by all of this. And they've got to ask, how do they get these people if there's an emergency? What do they do with people in shackles? Wow, that's a movie. And I'm sure they'll be making it. They have. But it's usually one prisoner. But imagine all of them just rising up, losing their minds as the plane is going to wow. Too much. Stop. I'd like to dedicate this this edition of the Rantcast to a cousin of mine who passed away this year, Norton Garfinkel. I went to his memorial yesterday, and one of the things that saddened me was just that I didn't get to spend more time with him, and really not even close to enough time with him. And I find that sad because a rather truly brilliant man and a generous man. And I learned a lot about him yesterday, and it would have been, I wish my dad was alive because he knew that family. My mother might have fetched a little, there's a word, but I don't think so. He supported, in many ways, early on, a painter that and a friend who was quite brilliant, Tommy Slaughter. And Dad told me about that. He had gone to see Norton and saw the paintings of Tommy's there, told Norton about that he knew that Norton had good taste because of it, and it made my dad proud that to see that Tommy, who was also a friend of my dad's, to see his work there. He was a brilliant man. Wrote a book about Lincoln, and I will read that now. And I'm just saddened. It's one of the things that, it was really, I was lucky to have this career, but one of the things that I missed because of it was spending time with some of the members of my family, and he being certainly one of them. And so this one is for you, Norton, and I'm sorry I traveled so much, but I really needed to do it. It was really important. And when I was here, I was working overtime, trying to build the theater at the West Bank Cafe. I was so excited about being able to do that, as much as I was excited about hitting the road. So it was great to be there yesterday, and know that you were loved, Norton, and that's what's important. And your memory will be carried on by those who knew you well. I'm sorry I wasn't one of them. And that's what I got before we head into the rants that were sent in, all wonderful as always, and all bitter as always. And some interesting new twists on what people are complaining about. Definitely some things people are complaining about we hadn't heard about. And I hope that the rest of you remember, keep them short, get to the point, okay? Write it first and then cut out the chaff and just get to what it is that's pissing you off. And I will be happy to read it aloud, and just happy to read it if it doesn't make the Rantcast. I read them all, and it gives me great joy that you allow me to read them. Okay? Thank you for that. It's a privilege and a pleasure, and I hope you have a great week ahead. And I look forward to going to Chapel Hill. And for those of you who will be at the show, thank you for coming. A quickie from Christopher Johnson. Mr. Black, sorry, let's simplify it. What happened to discretion in politics? Chinese peasants? Children with autism don't pay taxes? Aren't those things you think but don't speak? I get it. My brain-to-mouth filter's broken. But I'm just a poor peasant. When did it become normal for the upper class to act like trailer trash? Well, I'm sure you'll hear some responses to that, Christopher, and if not, you've made your point. And I hope it lets you move on with your day. Thank you. Here's one from Sima Bajaya. It's something else. There was a child on the bus that really irritated me. She was walking on the seats reserved for disabled elderly people with her dirty shoes. I asked her to please stop, and she proceeded to rub her shoes into the seats even more. Her mother was so delighted by my disapproval that she began to kiss and laugh with her daughter. This led to the girl feeling emboldened to ring the stop request button for every stop. The driver stopped between stops and told them to get off the bus or stop the behavior. The mother said they would get one, not get off the bus, and two, she would not say anything to the girl who was just a child. So the bus driver was forced to endure this added irritation. They finally got off about 2 or 3 stops before I did. I don't know what the lesson is. Sooner or later, we will all have to get off the bus. And right now, we're stuck with a misbehaving kid that won't be disciplined by the only one that can. The ride is going to feel a lot longer because of it. Wow. Well spoken, Sima. Wow. That would have driven me nuts. But a lot of parents don't say no anymore. But that's beyond belief. Where do you live? That would be interesting. This is, not that would help make this seem, make more sense. I was just wondering, just a question. And I thank you for sharing that. That's why I read these. Mm-hmm. Every so often it's a rant told as a story. And well written, Sima. Well written. Here's a tasty little morsel from Word M. I don't believe that's the person's name, but I'm glad to get this. Hello, Lewis. There are fewer little things that trip this word nerd's trigger than to mispronounce the name of a country, namely Iran. It's pronounced Iran, not Iran. We should not insult the people of Persia either because of ignorance or arrogance. From the heart of a native-born word nerd. Thanks, Lou. No, thank you, Word M. You can leave your name. I don't think people would be upset. And thanks for sharing that. And it's true. We mispronounce a lot of names of a lot of countries. I was doing it for years and didn't know. I could go through the list now, but I want to get on with the next rant. This comes to us from Mr. Yarbles. Anyway, on your last rant, someone was bitching about olives. Apparently, they really hate olives. Please seek counseling. Why do people that hate certain foods feel the need to complain about them? If you don't like it, don't eat it. I don't care if you prefer Miracle Whip to mayonnaise. Nobody cares. And then there's the assholes that can't help but throw a tantrum when you're eating food they do not like. How can you eat that? Yuck. And one of my favorites, what are you, a rabbit? If I happen to be eating a salad. I've also heard, what are you, a girl? No, I'm a man who likes all kinds of different food. So leave me the fuck alone and let me eat. Okay, Mr. Yarbles, thank you for that. And I'm sure you'll be hearing back from the man who, or the woman, I can't remember. But olives have, or I don't think have a sex. Somebody, but I think you'll be hearing back from them. Or maybe not. Maybe they've just had it and they've said their piece. And thank you for saying yours. This comes to us from Barb Forest, and an apt name considering what she's writing about. What is up with the garden nursery business? Huh? We used to be able to purchase 6 packs of plants for a few dollars. And now that same few dollars buys one lousy plant in a 2-inch container. Huh? Considering all the trouble it takes to grow vegetables, this is just another example of corporate greed. I bought 2 tomato plants in 2-inch containers and a 4-inch basil plant. Almost $18. Add in all the soil amenities, and we are talking a fortune for a handful of veggies if the frost doesn't kill them. God forbid I have to start growing from seeds. I'll never get a harvest. I'm in Colorado, and we have frost in May and September. We even had snow once on July 4th. With my luck, the plants are full of microplastics accumulating in my brain, so I can look forward to Alzheimer's. Maybe then I can stop ranting. I don't think you will stop ranting, Barb. Thank you for that. Thanks very much. No one's ever ranted about seeds. It's why I keep doing this. There's an endless amount of things to be yelled about. And thank you for yelling about seeds. My father would have gotten a kick out of it. Sam D., I thank you for this rant about something no one's ever ranted about. Quite exciting. Hi, Louis. My rant is about margarine. Gone are the days when you had to mix the coloring with the margarine. Now we have vegan margarine. And what is it made of? Water. Every time I butter my toast with margarine nowadays, I end up with soggy bread. Who wants a soggy slice of toast? Huh? I sure don't. Who was the brilliant one who came up with olive oil margarine? It doesn't look like olive oil, nor does it taste like olive oil. There must be something wrong with margarine, because the houseflies in my kitchen will never land on it. I don't know if I haven't had margarine in a long time, Sam. I just said, fuck it. Let's eat butter. I enjoy it. I believe that many of these breads and substances, such as a muffin, they're butter delivery systems. Get away from the margarine, Sam. Move on to butter. It's God's way of showing he loves us. Or maybe the cow's way. Who knows? I'm sure somebody will yell about it. From Shannon McMurphy. Louis, I'm a 5'5" man. I know I'm not average height for a man. But what does average mean, huh? It means some are taller and some are shorter. So why do half the public restrooms I enter have urinals that are too damn tall for me to use? I mean, at least think of the brand new urinal users too if you don't think of me. We don't want 4-year-old Tommy pissing on the ground or the toilet seat. I'm not brand new, of course. I've been doing this for a while. But I have not mastered the art of pissing and balancing on my tiptoes at the same time. Plus, a bad angle means I might not squeeze it all out. Then, when I tuck my guy back into my shorts, I get a teaspoon of piss in my underwear. That's uncomfortable. Use the toilet, you say. I do have to resort to that sometimes, but my preference is to not touch anything in a public restroom that does not belong to me. I've been known to go outside and search for a tree or bush that is obscured, but that is not always possible. I just have one thing to say to those bathroom designers that put the urinal up too high on the wall. Fuck you. Shannon from Belleville, Illinois. Well, that's one problem I don't have, Shannon. One. So I feel a bit better, and I'm sorry for you. Hopefully someone out there will hear it and make it a better world for all of those who are under 5'5". Thanks, Shannon. I enjoyed that. I did. You never think of this stuff. Just go in there and use it. I like I'm not going to sit here and go through the ones I like. Here's one from Susan Kersnack. Here's my Easter rant. Curse you, jelly bellies, and curse you too, OCD. And yes, there is a difference in taste. A flashlight and readers are required. The so slight color difference is very sneaky. But I will not be fooled. White, cream, pale white with dots all mean some random and potentially heinous flavor. Or wonderful. Be advised, what appears to be an innocent and wonderful cherry is posing as a fucking pomegranate. What the fuck? Or worse, very strong cinnamon. And what looks brown, a questionable color at best, could be chocolate pudding. Yay! Or root beer. Nah. Or cappuccino. Nope, not in my jelly bean. Sorry. The pinks and yellows and greens are all okay. Lime, apple, lemon, pineapple, cotton candy, etc. I can cope. And watch out to not overlook the dark green ones. They look black, prompting disgust. But a watermelon. And not bad. At midnight, while on a sugar binge, these mistakes can happen. So here I am, taking the bag color chart out of the garbage so as to not fuck up while eating a damn jelly bean. I remember when all you had to be on guard for was to not eat the black ones, thinking it was wonderful grape. Now this hell of a variety is complicated and decimated a once honored tradition of chew and blah, spit. Simplicity. Ah, for the simple days. Now I must read fucking directions and eat them one at a fucking time so as to not mix bubblegum with root beer or mix toasted marshmallow and buttered popcorn. Oh, it's just wrong. All wrong. Oh, and the Pope is dead. Ominous timing, some say. I think probably it was because someone gave him a bag of ease. He said enough already and closed his eyes. Don't blame him, or is he faking it till JD leaves? So next year it's Brax again. Happy Easter anyway. And happy Easter to you, Susan. Thank you for that. I enjoyed it. And they've come up with 1,000 flavors now, just like they did with candy corn. But candy corn is pernicious, but this is nuts. To have to sit with a flashlight at night trying to figure out which jelly bean tastes like. Oh, fuck, what? It's a complicated world, Susan. But I'm glad you shared your pain. Thanks to all of you for listening to my Rantcast. If you have a rant you want to get off your chest, send it in to me at lewisblack.com/live. You can think of it as therapy, or whatever you want to think of it as. Just let it rip. And I want to thank the true stars of our show, the ranters, and the splendid rants they gave us. Lewis Black's Rantcast was created and hosted by me. Lewis Black. Our live rant audio was produced by James Salter. Our theme song by Chris Lane. executive producer, Ben Brewer. Executive producers, Matt Kleinschmidt and Robert Kelly.